Hello everyone, Care Bear here to share with you this super fluffy, warm shawl. This shawl has been made with Samoyed Floof. Yes, dog hair. So a family member has their dog on Neptune the Sammy on Instagram, and I saw a picture one day with the dog sitting there and a whole bunch of fluff, and I wrote in and said, hey, you could take that fluff and have it spun. And they did. And since then, I have made them a couple hats, a baby blanket, and now most recently this gorgeous shawl. And the reason I picked the Sophie Shawl from by Petite Knit, which is a purchase pattern, is because I knew it would drape beautifully with this fiber that I have worked with in the past. So the shawl actually calls for DK worsted weight yarn with a 17 um, stitches by 30 gauge with 5mm needles or a US 8. And that's exactly what I did. When they had this yarn spun, the person who spun it, I think it was done in Colorado. They sent me the information and said it was about a DK to a worsted, and you can actually see it's not a stable, obviously. It does get wider and thinner in different parts, and so I think that's why they say it's DK to worsted. um, I used 161 grams of this fluff. I'm going to turn it this way so you can see the lovely halo. Check that. And I've already washed this. And I did use a US 8 5mm needle. And I think in the pattern, it is a purchase pattern, it mentions 3 different sizes. I really didn't worry about that. I mean, I cast on and followed everything that is done in the pattern, but I just went till I got to a halfway point that I was comfortable with. And I think for me, that ended up being, with this fiber, about 52 stitches on the needle. And then I started to decrease. And it just turned out absolutely lovely. I will tell you, working with this jog here is quite interesting. I did have to go outside on my deck to roll the yarn. It was shipped to me in a number of skeins, and in order to roll it and cake it, I went out onto my deck, and I have a photo and I'll throw it in here because it's just, the hair gets everywhere. And even when I was knitting it, I had a plastic bag that I would put it in and knit it on top of the plastic bag, and then I would store it in the bag because I would have hair all over the couch, all over the floor, all over myself. And so I found that was the best way to contain it until I washed it. Once you wash this, it really settles down, but it is so super soft, and it's just so lush. It's going to be the warmest scarf ever for sure, or shawl. So what else can I tell you about it? So I will show you when they did first send me this yarn and I was making a blanket for their child. I ordered these special labels that say Neptune's Fluff. And so I included the label on here as well as my own label, KarebearKnitwear. And I put it so that if they don't want it, they can always take it off. I do like this pattern. I know there's some controversy, but I do love Petite Knit's Sophie Shawl and Sophie Scarf. And I'll tell you one of the reasons why I think it is so popular. It is such a simple pattern as far as for beginners, because you have a few stitches to cast on and a very few stitches to cast off. And as a beginner knitter, the only stitch you're doing here is knitting, except for increases and some decreases. There's no purls, there's no yarn overs. And then you're learning how to do this gorgeous I-cord edging, which really gives a new knitter a beautiful garment, or a beautiful piece. So I think if somebody takes the scarf or the shawl and buys a beautiful ball of yarn, you wind up with a gorgeous, gorgeous garment that you can have for yourself or gift to others. So the simplicity of the pattern is excellent for new knitters, and for those of us who just want to do some mindless knitting but create something so beautiful, I think it works really well. So I will be shipping this beautiful scarf to family shortly. I'm going to put it on. It's going to cover my microphone. I hope it doesn't cause up too much grief, but it is a gorgeous piece and it is going to be so loved this winter. So this is the Sophie Shawl made with Neptune's fluff. If you thought you could work with something different than wool yarn, try dog hair. Thanks for watching.